Are you ready to break free from what's holding you back? Introducing Let It Go and Flourish, a transformative podcast that guides you toward becoming the best version of yourself professionally and personally. Each episode empowers you to release the limitations, fears, and old patterns that keep you stuck, while embracing the strategies and mindsets that lead to true success. Through powerful conversations and expert insights, you'll discover how to transform your career trajectory while maintaining inner balance. Build unshakable confidence in your abilities. Create meaningful relationships that support your growth. And master the art of letting go to make room for what serves you. Whether you're climbing the corporate ladder, building your dream business, or seeking deeper personal fulfillment, Let It Go and Flourish provides the guidance you need to thrive in all areas of life. Join our community of forward-thinking individuals who are ready to release what no longer serves them and step into their full potential. New episodes drop every Friday at 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time. Visit merlynclarke.com to listen to the podcast and take the first step toward your extraordinary future. Remember, your greatest self emerges when you let go of who you think you should be and embrace who you truly are. Let it go and flourish. Release, renew, and rise.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Let It Go and Flourish podcast show. This is your host, Merlyn Clarke, and welcome. This is episode 10. This is episode 10, and you're here and you're in for a special treat with my special guest. But before we get started, I'd like to give you some information about the podcast show. I am your host, Merlyn Clarke, and I thank you for tuning in today and to take time out of your busy schedule. If you are tuning in for the first time, Let It Go and Flourish is a transformative podcast that guides you to become the best version of yourself. The inspiration for this podcast came from my book, Let It Go and Flourish, Live a Life of Peace, Passion, and Purpose, which is on sale on Amazon.com. You may also purchase a signed copy directly from me and pay an additional $5 for the shipping. My friends, today you are in for a special treat. Today I have Joshua Ogbania as my expert guest. But before I present Joshua to you, I want to share some things about you. How did I meet Joshua? I met Joshua a few years ago when I did a keynote for the Africa Young Entrepreneurs Organization. A few weeks later, he reached out because he needed a speaker for an educational event. I introduced him to my very good friend, Dawn Kirk, who is an excellent educator and speaker. From there, we have collaborated and are now part of the Let's Talk leadership team, with Dawn serving as our mighty leader. Yes, she is. You know, I've heard so many negative things about Gen Zers, but I'm here to let you know that this Gen Z powerhouse, he is a powerhouse in his own right. Joshua Ogbania is a Pan-African visionary and serial entrepreneur dedicated to transforming lives through education, technology, and purposeful leadership. He is the founder and chief vision officer of eSchool Now Group, Africa's technology, education, and entrepreneurship hub, driving innovation and empowering world-changing visions from Africa to the world. Under his leadership, eSchool Now Group has launched multiple award-winning brands and enterprise solutions, including the acclaimed School Circle Management Suite. The group also encompasses tech school education, where Joshua serves as principal, and Global Educators Tribe Organization, also known as GET organization, where he serves as president. Through tech school education, Joshua hosts the Becoming Summit, a premier leadership conference guiding young people toward identity and purpose, and the annual Parent Summit, equipping parents to raise future ready leaders. At GET organization, he leads the Global Educators Retreat, uniting educators worldwide to advance education for global transformation. Beyond education, Joshua founded Agric Shift Limited, which is a pioneering agri-tech company focused on farming, innovation, post-harvest operations, and developing the next generation of farmers. He also consults on business development and serves on the boards of notable organizations such as Africa Young Entrepreneurs Organization, Equip Africa, and the Global Entrepreneurship Festival. He is a passionate mentor and he dedicates his time weekly to coaching young leaders through joshuaagbania.com and shares insights on social media at joshuaagbania.com, certified by global institutions including Google, NTN Business, and the Project Management Institute. Joshua blends creativity with conviction and strategy with soul. His mission is to empower billions towards sustainable progress and fulfill God's purpose on earth. So, when I hear you talk about these Gen Zers, they're lazy, they don't want to work, I'm here to tell you we need to change that narrative because that's not true. Not the ones I know. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Joshua Agbania of Nigeria, Africa. Joshua,
Thank you.
welcome to the Let's Talk, Let It Flourish
Thank
podcast
you.
show.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Merlyn. I mean, look at how that introduction has got me blushing. This is quite interesting. Thank you for that. I'm glad to be in the Let It Go and Flourish podcast. Like you rightly said, it's we've known now for about 3 years, almost
Yes,
about that.
yes. Mm-hmm.
And it's been from one amazing thing to the other. You're such a sweet person, such big-hearted, and I'm just so glad to be here today to talk about my journey, to talk about my journey in entrepreneurship and how people can also gain some insight within my journey and encourage themselves in their own journey for those who can relate to my story and some of the places where some of my touch points. So I'm glad to be here with you today. Thank you so much.
Great. You know, when I said welcome, I was about to say welcome to the Let's Talk Leadership because that's
Yeah.
where we collaborated, right? And I said, no, that's not where you are. You're on the Let It Go to Flourish podcast show. Isn't that
That's right.
something?
Don will laugh, Don will have a good laugh with this. I mean,
I know, I
she'll
know,
have a good laugh.
I know. So,
Mm.
Joshua, you are the founder and Chief Visionary Officer at eSchool Now Group, which is Africa's technology solutions for education, entrepreneurship partners, which is built to catalyze and drive innovation. So let me ask you this. What was your inspiration for starting this organization?
It's a big question and a very good one because it's to tell you this, I would have to give a little story. And so, growing up, I've always been, I come from an enterprising family. So, both my parents are they are entrepreneurs in their rights, in their ways. They are entrepreneurs. They try different things, and I learned that early, so I was always pushed to try different things. I didn't know it was called entrepreneurship. I didn't know the word entrepreneurship. I just was doing things that I thought I needed to do. So back in secondary school, that's high school or college in some places, I would I would sell bread. I would leave the school, go buy bread, come and sell bread. I would do carpentry. I would do different menial jobs, not necessarily because my parents couldn't afford to take care of me in school, but it was the curiosity for me to try to discover myself and to, walk in my path. I just wanted to, be a man and just try different things. So fast track after the secondary school, it was time to get into the university, and the question was, okay, so what am I going to study, right? Because then in Nigeria, I think now the narrative is gradually changing. So people would always say, parents would always want their children to study, say, professional courses like medicine, like law. You want to be called the father of a lawyer, the mom of a doctor, right? So,
Yeah.
and the young people as well wanted to be that. So because that was quote unquote the prestigious careers. But mine was different because I wanted something different. So I had a discussion. I sat with my elder brother, who was my first mentor, and my dad at the point, and we asked the question, say, okay, what is it that I would do? What course would I study in the university that when I come out, I would have the opportunity to employ people, create value, and just love what I do. I wouldn't have to sit back waiting for jobs, looking for where to be employed and stuff like that. So that was a thought, and that was how agriculture came about. So I just loved agriculture. Bear in mind, at this time, when you say agriculture to an average teenager like myself, then they would think farmer, and they think subsistence farmers. So, the menial farmers. So they feel like, oh, no, 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 I don't want to do that. I'd love to be the prestigious person, the doctor. But that wasn't me. So my path was always different because I was already thinking about, so what kind of life would I live, right? So I went to the university, studied agriculture. To tell you how involved I was in it, because I mean, while you're reading my bio, you mentioned that I'm the founder for Agric Shift Global Investments Limited. You mentioned that last and in passing, which is exactly the way it's been the recent days. In fact, since I started, and it seems as though education takes over everything I do. So most people don't even know me from there. Most people know me from education, but they didn't know that actually it was agriculture that started.
Ah.
That was where it started. So I went to the university, studied agriculture. I was so involved in agriculture that as at my year 3 in the university, I was already doing projects. When I say projects, I mean I was already consulting for big firms. I was already doing projects with multi national organizations in the state where I was. I was already working with the government regarding agriculture. I was already managing as a student. I was managing the University of Port Harcourt. I schooled in the University of Port Harcourt. I was managing my university school farm as a student, as of my
Wow.
year 3. This is something that needed staff to do. I was part of the for my department. I was part of the individuals that helped facilitate our second accreditation that the department even got. So I was quite involved, right? I would represent the university in where they needed delegations within agricultural space. So I was already doing stuff there. I was already doing well. I was making money as well. So I enjoyed it, right? But fast track 2020, something happened, something unique happened. But before I talk about 2020, also have in mind that I've been in education somehow because my parents also run a school. My mom particularly run a school. And when she started the school back in 2010, there are 5 of us. I have five siblings, right? four, including myself, five. So out of all of us, I was the only one, and still to today, to an extent, that has been that involved in the school. So I've been there helping out in different things while I was still in secondary school.
Mm.
Right? So, but I never, the idea of, Joshua, do what you're doing so that you can come back and take on this business. That wasn't it. For me, I would always tell my mom, I don't have interest in education. I don't have interest in teaching. I'm just here, but I was a natural teacher. I was natural with the kids. I was natural with everything that was going on around. So I was able to support her in that institution for as long as the institution was. So basically, you could say that I helped build the school because I was always there. Even when I went back to the university doing what I would do, I would come back to come support. So for me, it was just support. I was coming to support my mom. I never had interest in education. It wasn't a thing that, okay, I had interest and I didn't have that interest. But moving forward, back to 2020, right? So remember, whether I was conscious about it or not, since 2010, helping my mom run the school and also helping her friends, what that did was give me some insight in education, in the education institution, that whether I knew that I was getting those insights or not, that was what was happening. So I knew what was going on. I knew how the school ran. I knew where the problems were. I saw loopholes where they were. So I was seeing it, but I didn't naturally take note of that because my mind wasn't there. I just wanted to be a capitalist. I just wanted to be a business person. I just wanted to pay people. I just wanted to give people a sense of purpose. They work, I pay them, and it fascinated me. That has always been the thought for me. So fast track, I'm already doing well in agriculture. We're already setting up our post-harvest structure in the eastern part of Nigeria. We're already building that. We already had all the plans, all the different things. It was just for us to begin, construction in many regards. And then the COVID-19 hit 2020 and kids were at home. So everybody, we had to go back. So I went back in the area where we lived. I began to see something rise up. So basically, young kids, kids and teenagers, I began to see them form street cults. That confraternities began to emerge. I began to see it, and every day I see it, I'm like, oh, my God, it just kept pricking me, like, what's going on? I didn't like what I was seeing. So moral decadence, I could hear them using some profane language. I could hear them saying things. I could see them doing things that I know that these people, they don't used to do it before, but because now they're at home. Remember, they were out of school. They're not doing anything. And, like it says, the idle man is the devil's workshop. And that was when I kept complaining about this. And then one of the days I was speaking with my sister, and then she said, if you are so disturbed about this, isn't it an indication that you have to do something about it?
Yes. Wow.
And that was how it started. It was like a light bulb just came on. So right there and there, that was where I decided, you know what? Since I have some skills, I have some tech skills, of course. I also have some leadership skills. I can put people together. I said, you know what? I know about a platform called Google Workspace. Then it was G Suite. I said, I know of a platform called Google Workspace, G Suite. Let me put some people together, get some license, and let's see how we can already help the students who are at home begin to learn from home. So instead of staying on the street and not doing anything, you can learn. We can connect the teacher and connect the student, and you can learn. That was how it started.
Wow.
So it was just a thing of, okay, let's just do something, right? It was a bait. It was a trap. It was just a simple trap. Let me get in and, let's just solve this problem of these kids staying at home idle. That was how it started. But understanding what I know, I knew that I couldn't do it without putting up a little structure. So I formed a team, gave it a name, just basic branding, discussed with some of my, senior counterparts in the field that some of my mentors told them what I wanted to do. A lot of them discouraged me about doing it because the education is quite dicey. It's not what you've been, but I started it with no plan, with no idea of what I was about to do, of what I needed to do, of what the future was going to be, but I just started it. And I could tell you the story of how it has been so far, but that is how eSchool Now came to be. And Fast Track, after 2 years, because we started in 2020, and in 2022, what came up as just implementing tech solutions for schools became a group of companies where we now have Tech School Educational Institution, which is an institute of technology and entrepreneurship education, Global Educators Tribe organization, which is focused on empowering, connecting and empowering educators and education stakeholders around the world. And of course, eSchool Now itself now remains as it's now focused as a technology company building tech solutions for institutions, schools, brands, businesses, and all that. So it's a trifecta in the education space, but it started from just trying to get students back to school, occupying their free time, and the rest, you say, is history.
And this started because your sister asked you that question. If you
Yeah,
see a problem,
yeah,
why don't you come up with a solution? And look at what has evolved
yeah,
from you complaining to her and her asking you that powerful question.
yeah,
Because when we often complain about something, but we don't do anything about it, because that's what it's all about. You're adding value because you saw a problem and you are solving that problem. But look at
right,
what has evolved. You're now
right,
providing tech solutions to
right.
organizations, not just your students. Because I've seen you post things on LinkedIn where you have like a summer camp for the children. I've
Right.
seen that,
Yeah.
a tech camp.
Yeah, so that's for tech school. So this is how it started. So once we started eSchool Now, we started implementing. Remember, we were having to deal with institutions, schools that has been there for many years now,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if you know anything about schools, teachers are the most difficult. Educators are the most difficult to educate.
Mm.
They're the most difficult to teach. It's any you can prove me wrong in the comments. Educators are the most difficult to teach anything. They don't like to be taught. So, but they don't like to be told that, oh, the way it's not working, change it. So it takes the discipline for those who are in the education space listening to this. But then I really knew that if we're going to approach this sector, this is not a hit and run. We need to do this well.
Yes.
Right, we needed to do this well. We needed to come in well. We needed to come in right. So first of all, we had to do the corporate, the legal process. We had to incorporate as a limited liability company, eSchool Now Limited, and then we started. Okay, you know what? So we now properly had a brand. We had what we call a business. Also, let me also mention, because it's not just I'm a spiritual person. And
Mm-hmm.
spiritual person, not just, I'm not saying religious, spiritual in the sense that I believe that I know, not just that I believe, I know that I am guided by God.
Mm-hmm.
There is someone higher than me that guides me in the way that I should go. So I
Yes.
don't just move by impulses. No, I'm guided. So as someone who is being guided, when my sister said that, it resonated with me because truly that was what was going on. So I was guided to start eSchool Now on that level, but I had to make the move. And when I did make the move, we started gradually. Remember the over 10 years, over a decade of experience that I've now had with helping my mom with the school as of this time.
Mm-hmm.
So those things begin to kick in, like, oh, is this the reason why I was so interested in this school, in helping her in this school, that all my other siblings were not that interested, but I was always here, seeing the loopholes, seeing the problems, seeing those intricate issues with the education sector. So the more I spent time thinking about eSchool Now, I was already the more I spent time, the more I began to, think about it even more. The solution began to come out even more. So that was how we decided, what, it didn't take much time for us to discover that there are three major stakeholders in the education value chain. You have the institutions, the schools, you have the students, and then you have the educators. The educators and the institutions exist because of the students. And the reason for the education sector is that at the end of the day, our society can look better, that we can raise a generation of people that can lead our societies to success. And we look at our world generally in the global scene, the world doesn't look like what it should be because the education system is broken, right? So it's filled with propaganda as opposed to empowering our students to learn skills and to become the best that they can as leaders for our world, right? So the schools and the what do you call them now, the educators exist because of the students. So let me explain how the other three came about. So first of all, we said, you know what, we're going to have to serve these three differently, separately. So for the schools, what does a school need? A school needs automation system. There are repetitive tasks. There are things that the school do on a daily basis in interacting with the students and interacting with the teachers, educators, that needs to be automated, right? So can we build automation system? Can we help the school, build those systems that would help academics, help administration, help different operational areas of the school? So that is what eSchool now is doing. Then we decided, you know what, for the educators who end up pouring into the students, the educators would need to be encouraged, because if there's something we know, it's not just about Nigeria, it's not just about Africa. Educators around the world are underappreciated, under-recognized, under-empowered for the role that they undertake, because education is the most important factor of any society. Any society that gets it right with education gets it right basically every other place, right? So we knew that, if at the end of the day, what we are looking for is total and global transformation for our world, it needs to happen through education, and it cannot happen if the educators are not transformed. So we decided to launch a nonprofit, which is Global Educators Tribe. And that was how we began to, so we host programs like the Global Educators Retreat, the Global Educators Connect. So every year we have Global Educators Retreat at the beginning of the year. You can go out on YouTube and check this out. Okay. You will see we bring in best speakers from around the world. I mean, that's actually where I wanted you to speak, that you then invited Dawn to speak on. And since then, she's been, a regular speaker at the Global Educators Retreat, right? And then, so through that organization, the Global Educators Tribe organization, we've been empowering educators, connecting educators, supporting educators, spotlighting educators. So we have programs, we empower them with not just mindset shifts, but with skill sets, with gifts, with financial empowerment, with tools, with resources to do their work better. Right? So that is for Global Educators Tribe. But we then said, for the students ideally go to school to be taught, different things. But we already know that the way our curriculum is, particularly in Nigeria, in Africa, and most parts of the world, it's not up to par with what it should be. So how can we reach out to the students and give them some things that can help them? How can we supplement what the school is doing? What is it that we can give to the students that is a little bit different, shifting focus from where the school, generally tilts towards? So the school is more academic in focus, but we said, you know what, that's traditional school are more academic in focus, but we said, let's think about entrepreneurship. Let's think about technology. These are two concepts that would endure regardless of the time, regardless of the generation. It is timeless. Two subjects that are timeless: technology, entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is all about life. Technology is all about how we make life better. Yes. So the entrepreneurship is life. How do we live? How do we live with each other? How do we do? So doing business, the relationship, exchange, all those things is entrepreneurship. But the technology is the innovation of life. How do we innovate in life? So I said, you know what? We have to have a school where we teach these two things. And if you look globally, you really have, only in today's world you have schools are gradually making some changes, but you really have academic institutions that teach entrepreneurship, that teach technology the way, I mean, think about 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you didn't have all that. So we decided we're going to have tech school as an institute of technology and entrepreneurship education. So while the students go to their regular traditional schools and they're learning, say, chemistry, say, mathematics, say, all those academic subjects, when they come to tech school, they learn tech skills. They learn life skills, entrepreneurship skills. They learn how to then transform what seems to be a challenge to opportunities for themselves. So that's how you have the group. So each school now serves the educational institutions, building solutions, technology solutions, and all that. Tech school serves the students. So it's a school. We have different learning sessions. There are different sessions going on. Kids complete their 1-year program because, again, we decided to now focus on kids and teens. Right? We decided now focus on kids and teens. So the summer program you're talking about are short-term programs. We also have our long-term programs. And at the end of the day, they learn, they get these skills. So the same skills someone would need to have to work in Google, for instance, Microsoft, MasterCard, or whatever premier organization you're talking about, they are learning those skills at tech school as kids, as teenagers.
Wow. Wow. They are being equipped to lead.
Right.
You are equipping these young people to lead. We're not waiting
and they've won a lot of competitions, right? They've won a lot of competitions. They've come first in many software engineering competitions, for instance.
Wow.
And they go for internships. So it's a full school program for them. They don't just learn, they build projects, then they go for internships, and then they finally come to, they consummate their entire learning process through a final project defense.
Wonderful.
You will find a lot of this on YouTube, right? So like you said, it's equipping them with tech skills, but also leadership and life skills.
Yes.
That is what we're doing through tech school. Then meanwhile, on the other end, we're empowering the educators and we're also empowering the school. So when you put all that together, we're empowering education.
You are empowering education. Now, Joshua, I want to go back to Global Educators Tribe organization, the GET organization.
Yeah.
What other countries do you operate in outside of Africa? What other continent or other countries outside of outside of Africa?
So in terms of operation, so that we don't mix up words, in terms of operation, we still operate from Nigeria. Although we do have members of staff and members of boards who are from different parts of the world. Okay. But in terms of reach, we've been able to reach over, if my calculation is right, over 12 countries as at this time.
Okay. Are those 12 countries within Africa?
No. From way outside Africa. So in our programs have mixed audiences. You have people from the Philippines, you have people from the Caribbean, you have people from the UK, you have people from India. We've gotten people from different parts of Africa as well. So it's a mixed audience, and we keep increasing this reach because at the end of the day, what we are saying through the Global Educators Tribe is we want to first connect. Mm-hmm. We want to first connect educators, then support, and then spotlight. Connect means, okay, what's the standard of education in Finland? What's the standard of education in America? What is it that you're doing in your classroom in the UK that I can learn from, that a teacher in Nigeria, in Ghana, in South Africa, in India can learn from and begin to apply? Because education is about people.
It is about people, and people matter. Now, I want to jump to this one about your summit, the Becoming Summit, which is a premier leadership conference designed to help young people discover and thrive in their identity and purpose. Right. And the annual Parents Summit, which is designed to help parents of the 21st century raise better leaders for our world. How can
Right.
our audience learn more about this summit?
So starting with let me start with the summit. So you see, think about what we do at Tech School, the institute. You would think as an institute we should focus on just, educating the students with tech skills and just focus on that and just move on. But we're thinking about the total child. We're thinking about the wholesome child.
Yeah.
So first of all, we say we have faculties and courses in tech school that you have to undergo as a kid, teenager, or an adult who comes into our school, because it's stratified into the school for kids and teens and the school for adults,
Mm-hmm.
with relevant certifications that are recognized globally as well. Now, but for the kids and teens, we said, you know what, you cannot do the education, you cannot really educate a child to become the best that they can be without parental involvement.
Yes.
Most parents in the 21st century don't even know what to do with their children. They are so confused about what to do with their children. Just like you said, the Gen Zs. I mean, you're still complaining about Gen Zs. Now there's Gen Alpha, right? So I don't even know what to do with this generation. These guys are they're just so unpredictable. I don't understand them. I done this, I done that, I done this. And then the more you're saying that the rise of technology is changing the world, AI, there's TikTok, there is social media, there is different things, and you're wondering, how do I keep up with all the things that's going on? I don't even know what success means for my children again today. So
Mm-hmm.
if the wave comes and say, if for whatever reason, just like what we've been experiencing in Nigeria and in parts of the world over the past few years, there's this transition of many people into technology. So people are now, everybody wants to be a tech bro, a tech sis. Everybody wants to try something. You want to do something in tech, right? And then you have parents are so confused. What do I do? I don't even know how to go about it. And then we said, we have to do this with the parents. We have to create a program where it's just focused for the parents,
Yeah.
where the parents can come and get real-time understanding. This is how to raise your child in the 21st century.
Wow.
Or, we're not giving you a blueprint, but we're just telling you what works here, what works here. You can gain insight. We bring speakers, we
Yeah.
bring people who have had experiences, people who have gone ahead, and we can share with you, oh, try this. We can bring you up to par as far as what the trends are, so that you can know, okay, because if you don't even know, the problem is, if you don't even know, you don't even know where to start. There's something we say in Nigeria, in Igbo particularly. If you don't know where the rain started falling on you, how would you even trace yourself back? So it's important to know, at least first of all, know that these things are there, these technologies are there, these distractions are there for these children. How do you reach out to them? How do you connect with them? So that is what the Parents Virtual Summit does. And we've had that now for many years, and it's been a
Oh,
source of inspiration and empowerment for many parents around the world. So that is awesome. But the Becoming Summit is a different program. It's not necessarily a program of tech school. It's a passion project that I have, because it's a program that reaches out to young people like myself. Young people like myself, those from the universities and those who are gradually finding their way in life, becoming, we are all on that process. We're all on that journey. We're all on a journey.
yeah.
No one ever gets to, it's just like you would always hear, success is not about the destination, it's about
No.
the journey.
Journey.
It's the journey, right? So we are becoming. It's a constant process.
Yeah.
There is, if I achieve this level of success, guess what? There's the next level of success awaiting me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I fall today, guess what? I have to rise up because there's something better for me tomorrow.
Yes.
So, but the thing is, in the discussion of becoming, if you do not discover your identity and purpose, you will not be able to become. You will never achieve. You will never be fulfilled. And that's the reason why the Becoming Summit actually started this year, 2025. We had the first edition of this program this year in Port Harcourt, and it was focused on identity and purpose.
I love that.
The,
I
the,
love that.
the, the level at which you live life and attend to challenges and situations that come to you is directly dependent on to the degree that you understand who you are and what you're here to do. Look at the title of this podcast today is Entrepreneurship Living Your Purpose.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship Living Your Purpose.
It's
If
all
you do
about
not
your
know,
purpose.
if you don't know who you are, if you don't know what you are here to do, right? In a very noisy world, you will end up living people's life because social media is so wonderful in that it can make you conform to anything at all. It can give you any identity. If you don't give yourself an identity, it will give you one. If you
Yes.
don't give yourself a purpose, it will give you one. And it is not always, in fact, it is majorly wrong. It will always lead you to perdition because it is not your God-given purpose. Everything was created for something.
Yes.
This laptop I'm using to stream today, this camera, this phone, everything was created for something. This phone cannot on its own now decide to, you know what, I'm not going to work again. I'm just going to stay back. I'm just going to be on my desk. Don't use me, you talk to me,
Purpose.
I don't want to be used. It's serving its purpose.
Purpose. It's all about purpose because every life that God created was created on purpose for a purpose. And it
Right,
hurts my heart when I see people living somebody else's vision. They look at
right,
other people and they want to be like them. Be
right.
yourself, live your authentic self.
Yeah,
Find out who are you? Why are you here? What do you enjoy doing? And
right.
work on that thing and ask for help because asking for help is not a sign of weakness. You
No,
will
it's not.
we and I love what you're saying. You gathered a team together. You know you couldn't not do it well by yourself. So
Right.
ask for help. This has been an amazing conversation. Amazing. And I'm going to have to get you back on here because it's just so much more I know you have to share. And I
Let
know I'm.
me I would love to talk about something. And this is so important because, we're talking about let it go and flourish.
Mhm.
If you remember, I talked about how I started with agriculture.
Uh-huh.
I want you to try to be in my shoes for a little while. Understand, as a young boy, as a young man who was already gaining some traction and felt like he was already achieving some things. And now it was time to take on a new challenge, which was in education that he never really planned for.
Yes.
First of all, is business is war and it requires time. It requires time. When I started this, I discovered that I needed to put a pause on the first company I started, which was actually AgriShift. AgriShift was the first company I started. The name wasn't AgriShift then, but that was the first company I
Okay.
started because that was my attention. That was where I wanted to be. I just wanted to thrive in that area. But now an education came about, and because of the weakness I had in my spirit, remember I said I'm guided by God.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I had to give time to this thing that I believe in. I knew I had to give time to it. And what it meant is that I had to pause what I was doing with agriculture.
Mm.
I paused activities, I paused operations, I disbanded the team because it was still very new. It couldn't function without me. So I had to end everything, pause it so that I could
Focus.
fully focus on the things that God has asked me to do with education.
Yes.
Remember, as at that time, I could sit down and give you a 50-year plan of what I wanted to do with agriculture. I couldn't give you a one-day plan, a tomorrow plan of what I wanted to do with education.
Mm-hmm.
But there was something about that there was something about education that when I got into it, I knew this was what God wanted me to do because I
Wow.
found fulfillment in it. Now, guess what? I didn't receive the support that I would have loved to receive. Starting
Mm.
with my parents, they didn't understand it, not because they didn't love me, but they didn't understand it. I was about to take a path that they did not understand. Because my future, remember I told you that before I got into the university, I had to sit down with my dad or with my brother, and we decided that the course I was going to study was agriculture. So we already had the picture for me that, oh, no. So my trajectory in agriculture was already expected and being enjoyed. So it's expected that now I'm about to graduate or I'm graduating, I'm going to be, traveling overseas, furthering my master's, working there, doing this and all that stuff. And then I'm coming to say, oh no, it's now education. And you can't even tell what it is. And it's not just it's not the traditional education, it's the education where you have to, or you have students online, really, students from the UK, from the US, they didn't understand it. No one understood it. Or you're building softwares. What's that? Really? Softwares? How does it work? So they didn't understand it. So the support I would have gotten from them, they didn't give it to me. In fact, they fought it hard at the beginning.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about understanding purpose. I had to let go. I remember at the beginning, I was always struggling with going back to doing the agricultural thing, going back. I was like, no, I can't stop this. I want this, but I had to let go. And in my letting go, the bloom for East School Down became. And that's how what started again as just one is now a group of companies. You now have East School Down Group.
Let it go and flourish. Let it go and flourish. Let go of what no longer serves you and pursue your passion and your purpose. That's what this show is all about. And you brought it home. You brought it home. You have shared with us what you started, what you had to embrace, and how you put yourself in it. I mean, the way you wrap that up, you had to let go of something and embrace what you know God called you to do. That's your purpose right there, education. And you're helping many audiences, the children, the parents, the educators, and the educational institutes. Look at that. Look at that. You are living your purpose and you're helping others live theirs. And that's what this show is all about. I knew I had to get you on this show, Joshua, and you have added major value here. And I know the audience agrees with me. And I'm going to have to get you back on here. I know you're a very, very busy man, and I know you have a lot, because I had a lot of questions to ask you, but you started giving me the answers in the first question, and I said, wow, this has been an amazing conversation, and I have to get you back on this show. I hope Dawn is listening. I hope Dr. Lash is listening. I hope
most definitely. I mean, the journey of entrepreneurship is one that is laced with a lot of learning.
Yes.
Is laced with a lot of learning, because I mean, in this conversation, I've merely talked about the beginning.
Yes.
In fact, I'm not even done with the beginning. I've merely talked about the beginning of how it started. There's the story of how is it going? What insights can you gain from it, right? Because it's maybe today you hear people try to give you a manual with entrepreneurship, but the Grant Cardone will say the real entrepreneurs are those who just go out there and begin to get it done. Just you try this, it doesn't work, you try this, it works, okay, let's do this again, and you learn, you iterate, and there's a whole lot of learning along the way, and I'll be happy to share all this as we keep going.
You are going to fail along the way, but you have to remember, failure is the condiment that gives success its flavor. Most of those successful entrepreneurs who I know about and we have read about, they failed multiple times. Multiple times, and they get back up and they try again. Because here's what happened. They didn't really fail. They were just rehearsing. They were just rehearsing for the big show.
I was about to say that there's no failure. There's
failure.
nothing like failure. The only time where it becomes failure is when you quit.
When you give up.
When you give up, then it's failure.
You have to keep on going.
You fall down, you get back up. You fall down, you get back up. And you learn, why did I fall? Right? When you fall down, understand what made me fall. Why did I fall? Okay, now get back up again and then fix up that loophole while you fell, and then you keep going. So what you're doing is building capacity for the ultimate you, because
Yes.
gold does not automatically become gold. It's always, though it looks like stone, it's always gold.
Mm.
It only goes through a refining process.
Yes.
So I'm not trying to become what I'm not already. I am.
Yes. You are, because you were created for it. You were
I am.
created for it, but you not just have to refine, go through the refining
I can
process.
be in my crude state today. I can be in my crude state today, and I look so unattractive. I look so,
Diamonds in the rough.
yeah.
Diamonds
Just
in
give
the
me some
rough.
time. So if once we begin to think that way, you see, automatically self-doubt begins to evaporate. Automatically depression begins to evaporate. Those things that has to do with confidence begins to come in, because now you understand you are actually great. Though you today you seem so ignorant, you seem so, you don't really know, you don't even know your left from your right. It's a process. You are becoming. You are becoming. We are all becoming. Be patient with yourself. There's a quote I have pinned on my, I made this quote, and it's pinned on my Instagram perpetually. I say, destiny actualization takes time. Be patient with yourself.
Be patient with yourself. We rush through things. Rome was not built in a day.
Right.
We just have to go at it, keep going, and celebrate the small wins. Don't
Exactly.
wait for something big before you
Right.
celebrate. When you
Right.
celebrate those small wins, it's an encouragement. And you
Hmm.
look back, and those small wins, they
Hmm.
accumulate into impactful things, because that's what we're here to do:
That's
impact
right.
others, impact and inspire others to move forward like others have done
Hmm.
for us.
That's
For
right.
us, we are running out of time, Joshua. I have to say, I love having you. I could go on for another hour,
Same
but
here.
that's why I say I have to get you back on here in
Right.
2026, because
Hmm.
you have a lot to offer. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who knows this,
Thank
who
you.
knows this. All right. I don't talk about what I think. I
Right.
know that you have a lot to offer. And from what you have dropped so far, the audience, I'm sure they're like, hmm,
Hmm.
So I can't wait to have you back on this show. And
Thank you.
so I thank you so much. I know you have a wedding coming up in a week or so. Your sister is getting married. So, I just want to congratulate the entire family on
Merlyn
this
has spilled the
upcoming
beans.
celebration, because I've been to African weddings and I know that they are a big celebration. So congratulations. And I want to leave the audience with a word from our sponsor right now.
Hello. I am Merlyn Clarke. And as the owner of Mac Leadership Solutions, I know you're driven for growth. The Mac Success Academy is your launchpad to capture those explosive moments and achieve the success you crave. For less than your daily coffee habit at $17 a month, you will gain access to live training, action-oriented teachings, and a library of digital courses that are written, audio, or video. Don't miss out on this investment in yourself. It's the key to unlocking the best year of your life. At under $1 a day, you'll gain the tools and strategies to dominate this year and beyond. Remember, lasting transformation demands action. If you yearn for more success, growth, happiness, and stability, the Mac Success Academy is your answer. It's time to stop wishing and start thriving. Join us today.
So, Joshua, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being here.